Okay, the Future of Azerite Revealed.
Ladies and gents, we have our upcoming
What happened to Halabalas?
Halabalas!
What is this, dude?
Ladies and gents, we have our upcoming Azerite armor improvements clarified by Blizz. They have announced what they're going to be doing with the Azerite armor and how they're trying to make it better. And this is kind of the overall issue with Azerite armor, is there are so many problems with it that affect every single corner of the WoW player base, from the super casual just bought the game all the way up to the mega hardcore. There's some aspect of Azerite armor that is an issue that needs to be fixed, and the Blizzard's got
he's doing island
expeditions
expeditions
to sort it out. And I think that's why generally Azerite armor is very divisive, and I mean that in terms of what people want improved is different across the board.
Really?
People who just don't like having low item level, that's it. They have like a generally higher item level.
Yeah, that's a factor.
3/4 pieces.
I'll give that.
They don't like that because it doesn't make sense to them logically. It's like, well, I'm 350 all the way across the board, but I've got this 340 item. So they want more accessibility to higher item level stuff instead of being stuck with this lower item level stuff. And this goes then all the way to the other end where it's like, I don't care about the item level at all. That's not of interest to me. What is of interest is the things you're asking me to chase and care about. And you're also adding this enforced rarity. An enforced rarity for an item that's not desirable.
That's a really good way to look at it.
Without the other.
Enforced rarity.
You can't have, for example, there may be some real problems somewhere in WoW's code that makes certain grey quality items not appear on trash. We would never know about it, although those items are extremely rare because we just don't care about them. And so when we look at traits that are basically passive bonuses and our characters are lighting up with fireworks and doing all kinds of stupid things, yet it does nothing to our gameplay, that causes us a lot of issues. And everything in between. There's a huge amount of issues with it. So we've had this post, which is describing what's going to happen. So we're going to read through this. Again, I'll put a timestamp in the description to skip past it if you've already read it and you want the critique of what has been said.
We'll do that.
Let's start off then. Thanks a lot for all the...
We're going to just skip ahead.
Anyway. And that is the scaling up of the rewards in terms of item level. That's something that was on the cards
This is the emissary
forever.
thing.
There was no way they were going to keep that exactly the same from the start of the game. The World Quest stuff generally does scale up with each new season. They're just moving the schedule forward on that. Now, I think that, as we talked about at the beginning, is a lot of people have lots of different issues with this. I think that's actually, in and of itself, is going to appease a huge amount of players.
Yes,
because
very
they'll
good
just be able to bump their item level up. Of course, everybody's going to bump their item level up just that little bit, so it's not going to change anything like across the board. Everybody's
still
in the same
progression.
situation now. Will just simply be able to bump their item level up.
I think that's
it will
good.
be based on your item levels. So it's not like you're going to be capping and getting 370 Azerite armor. I do want to point out here, it is from the emissary quests. That's not the world quests for Azerite armor. That's the emissary reward you get at the end of the day. They do appear, say, once a week. I think is a reasonable assumption for how often you get an Azerite cache from an emissary reward. Let's say once a week. So it's kind of doubled the chances if we put it with Mythic Plus, and you can include it with PvP, and now you can include maybe once a week emissary reward for that. That you do have
probably
this
about twice, I would say.
Source,
which is
it's
good.
Basically an extra loot box.
Ooh,
that's it. And it's a very temporary
familiar.
fix as well, because it's going to bump everybody up. Most people are going to be hoping to get the shoulders, the head, or the chest. They did mention here, and I wonder if they're going to try and sort this out, is that they're looking at the way the emissaries reward gear. Does that mean that they're going to say, they're going to include something saying, well, you have this 340 chest while you have 385 head and shoulders.
Oh, this is
we
good.
We should probably try and push the reward some way towards giving you a 370 chest, because giving you a 370
they really need to do that.
Every time this emissary
like smart
reward
loot,
pops
basically.
up is completely and more frustrating, right? I still have this 340, like it's not helping me in any way, shape, or form. So hopefully they are going to do something like that.
Getting 2 385 helmets.
Remember, it's still going to be World Quest stuff, so it's going to be the same Azerite armor you get from the emissary cache right now. It's just going to be the 370 version of the exact same thing you're getting now. Again, something that was always going to happen. They've just moved the schedule forward a bit to tide people over who are more concerned with the item level. That kind of solves the people who are just annoyed at having a 340 piece, and that's all they want. They don't really care about the traits, don't care about anything else. They just want that number to go up that's above the item
the number
level. So
means they do more damage too. I do want to just pause it right here just to make one clarification, at least the way that I feel about things, is that the making the number go up isn't just about making the number go up. It's about making sure the player has character progression, right? And I think that's what's important, because if other people are getting lucky and they get these pieces and the player doesn't, player 1 doesn't, player 2 does, player 1 is going to feel kind of bad about that. So I think it's more complicated than just getting the number up. I think there's a very, very core, like, player progression driven reason why people want to get this the Azerite gear to 370.
BFA Season 2 then. So this isn't the stuff that's immediate. This is going to come a bit later. It's exactly what we thought was going to happen, is adding another ring. Adding another ring is
the thing they said they wouldn't do.
What was mentioned several times. This isn't unsurprising.
That they said they would not do.
Expected, but it is decent to see that it's coming now and what's going to be in there. Now, I say what's going to be in there because we do know what kind of stuff is going to be in there, and this is a positive thing. There are some very, very cool Azerite traits coming up.
Yes.
Now, we've only seen a few of them. They've been data mined on the PTR.
These are the ones that I saw.
Prompted this post in the first
Prot Warrior,
place,
by the way.
but they are things that you can feel. They are things that you can actually tangibly notice happening. So I'll give you some examples here from what we found on the PTR, or what other dudes have found on the PTR, I should say. So hunters have something like dire consequences.
Yeah, these are the ones that we looked at.
Does some additional damage.
These are great traits. I like them a lot.
Okay, I can do something with that. The monks are getting Dance of Shiji. Spending chi has a chance to make your next spinning crane kick free and deal additional damage. Something to keep an eye on. Monks are getting Fury of Zuen. Your combo strikes grant you Fury of Zuen, giving your next Fist of Fury a 3% chance.
These are great traits.
These are a chance again. To grant 130 haste and invoke Zuen the White Tiger.
Looks like BFA is finally going to release an 8.1.
times, making it pretty much guaranteed. Good. Yep. Okay.
I wonder if you can have two of them out at the same time.
That's very similar to Legion Legendaries.
That'd be ridiculous.
We've seen abilities like this before, but it is something to be tangibly used.
Okay.
Rogues getting nothing personal. Vendetta grants you 50 energy. Okay, I need to be aware I'm going to get this big chunk of energy.
Nothing personnel.
And causes your mutilate attacks to deal an additional amount of damage. So now I get to just manage my energy that little bit better. Shaman, Tectonic Thunder, Earthquake, has a 25% chance, which is pretty decent, to make your next Chain Lightning be instant cast. That will be nice. That will be something to track on. That will be something to keep an eye on. Will it change our rotation that much? No, but it is something cool. We get
it's
that
a proc.
Instant cast, that burst.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's something to keep an eye on. And your Demonic Tyrants, for the Warlocks, Demonic Tyrants Demon Fire deals
that's the one that nobody cares
and
about.
Summoning your Demonic Tyrant instantly generates 5 soul
Imagine
shards.
playing
Again,
Demonology,
some sort of
dude.
resource management to go along with having this trait. This is better. This is much, much better. This is stuff that I have to be aware I have and consciously choose and utilize in some way across the board. We also have a cool one for the Death Knights called Hell Chains. Dark Transformation, this is for Unholy,
this is a Diablo one.
Links you and your pet with chains that deal fire damage every second to enemies between you and it for 5 seconds. Okay, I have to be aware of where my pet is and position myself in such a way that my Hell Chains will travel through this target. Potentially some nice AoE burst there. I send my pet out into a big pack, I move to the other side of my pet, I get my Hell Chains going with Dark Transformation, and I get this nice big cluster of AoE going with this maybe cool special effect, visual effect going on in the meantime.
Okay.
Something I need to be aware of, something tangible, something I need to know that I have, and something that I can utilize properly and maximize and do something with. This is much better. This is much, much better. So to confirm how this is going to work, there'll be a new outer ring. They're calling it the Tier 4 Azerite armor.
This is the new
so
thing.
This looks like it's actually going to be the first ring you choose from. Now, I want to be clear here. It does look like exactly what we predicted is that
it's funny watching Preach die over and over as a Prot Warrior.
The current rings. Yeah? They've made them as generic as possible.
It's just funny.
Maybe. And they're just going to kind of even them out so it doesn't really matter too much. And the actual ring will care about it. I know for anybody who's been watching my recent videos, this is exactly what you said would happen. I know, but it was definitely the way things were going. It wasn't anything more than, well, it's clearly this is what they're going to do, is kind of write those rings off and declare the outer ring the new traits to be the ones that you should be interested in. But what you are going to get is a choice of 2. So for a Death Knight, for example, you'll have 2 blood traits, 2 unholy traits, and 2 frost traits. So you will have to physically choose.
You have to make a choice no matter what.
Your play style. Hopefully, it doesn't come back down to just which one does X more damage. Now, based on what we've seen so far with the data mined Azerite traits, it doesn't look like that will be a case. Right? It looks like you will be building, say, for the shamans who are doing Earthquake and instant cast Chain Lightning, that will be something you want to build for AoE. It's not going to help you that much single target, in theory. We'll see the math on that. And similar to granting Fury of Zuwen or getting a buff to spinning Crane Kicks. One gives more AoE damage. The other one gives us this single target burst that we can reliably do something with. So this is something that we maybe get a choice of. Will the choices come down to one's an AoE one, one's a single target one? We'll have to wait and see what more traits come. I do carry some
See, that's one thing that I'm kind of worried about is, like, if they have a trait where, like, one is AoE and one is single target, people are going to be kind of frustrated whenever they pick the AoE trait or they pick the single target trait, because whenever they do another situation, they're at, like, this artificial disadvantage because Blizzard created a system where it's actually really prohibitive to respec. So I'm worried that this thing, like, I really think that Blizzard should change their philosophy on respeccing the Azerite armor. And I think if they do that, the Azerite armor can be salvageable.
Pessimism with this, but it's looking okay. It's looking all right. This is a good start, and this is something I actually am okay with. I'm totally fine with this. They then go on to the third point. We're going to continue to work on individual traits themselves. So I just mentioned then they've made them, they're kind of writing off the other 2 rings. But they seemingly are going to invoke common sense because
always works.
They're probably going to nerf the shit out of the generic traits. That's the simple situation we seem to be in. The likelihood is your generic boring traits, your Thunderous Blast and so on and so forth, are going to be nerfed pretty heavily. They're not. They're now intentionally saying they're not supposed to be as good as the class-specific ones because they shouldn't be, which is something we were talking about a long time ago as to why something that's universal across all 3 specs is the better than the one that ties me and locks me into a single spec. That makes no sense. Does this solve everything? No, obviously not. It doesn't solve much of anything.
Good thinking.
I think going forward, we have to assume it's screwed, but they're going to do the best with it. Does this change the having to regrind the Azerite traits? That's going to depend on how high they bump up the AP requirements of the next tier of armor. At this point, if you want to be in a good mindset, like mentally with the game and Azerite armor, you kind of have to say it was fucked all the way for a first patch.
Yeah,
going forward, can it be better? And if it can be better, and it looks like it can be better, then that's what we've got, and that's what we're going to deal with. If they go the route of, well, we really want to bump up AP levels because people have been farming loads. We know there are people who've hit, like, level 30 Azerite neck or whatever. Something ridiculous by spamming islands all day. That's not reflective of the player base. And it's not that fun. I don't want to keep regrinding the same traits over and over again. A lot of people have a huge problem with that, including myself. And to keep it relatively low, I think would be fine, but it would nullify the other system.
That's a lot,
we'll have to see how far they go with that. It's going to be very interesting to see what they decide the AP levels should be on the new Azerite armor, the Season 2 Azerite armor. What AP levels are they going to be requiring? Because if they're suddenly way high, like it's level 33 to get the first one, a lot of people are going to go, well, piss on you. Or will they punish sort of the Mythic style of play? The higher level guys and say, well, you are the nerds, so you need to grind way more AP. And it's
That's so bad, dude. I really hope they don't do that. Like, now that Priest said it, I think they're going to.
That should be a lot of fun. But they are hitting
a
lot of bigger issues. They've done a good job here. They have done a good job here. There's definite bonuses. I think it's a right decision to essentially just write off the other rings and say, yeah, kind of fuck those other rings, but here's the interesting stuff. The interesting stuff is going to be the first stuff you access. It's going to be stuff that affects your gameplay, affects your character, some sort of character progression. I personally am looking forward to seeing what the choices are that I get with my character. Will they be on par with kind of legendary effects? Will they be like golden Azerite traits?
Probably more like golden traits.
I don't know yet, but these look decent enough. They look like a good start. I can see myself with each of the characters that have had their Ring 4 Azerite powers data mined.
This is a good thing.
Doing something with those and being able to utilize them in some way. I can already sort of predict how the feel's going to be, and that's a good thing. That's okay in my book. I think they've done all right there. And I don't think they had much of a choice. Sure, we can live forever saying, hey, this is doomed from the start. You're right. It was doomed from the start. In terms of the availability then, a big point of contention has been the lack of availability from Mythic Plus because it no longer made sense.
And that's the thing they didn't do.
Once we realized that we had been misled, and we had been misled about what was going to be happening with the Mythic Plus cache, and realizing that simply gaining Azerite armor is a massive, massive problem in the game right now. Why is it not available in Mythic Plus? Because given the way the game is, it makes no sense anymore. Why it's not available in Mythic Plus? You're not going to allow us to reasonably get it from a Mythic Plus cache. I can't get it from the PvP cache. I'm reliant on raiding or just pure, complete random luck to get something to put in that slot. Why is it no longer available from Mythic Plus? Because the system doesn't make sense anymore.
But never did, to be fair.
I agree with you in the current state of the game. It doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
I would say that based on what they've said, I don't agree with this, by the way, but based on what they've said, which keeps referring to this grand scheme, and I'm not trying to harp on a meme here, I'm just trying to say this is what they've been saying. The likelihood is they don't want that to happen because they probably want to add something very cool and very powerful at the end of the expansion, which is historically what they always do, and the Azerite armor is where that's going to appear, and they really, really do not want people to get it quickly. Now, that does mean that they have
pretty
opted
obvious
for a system which is shitty for a long time, assuming I'm correct. Shitty for a long time, but has some sort of payoff. Like a terrible movie, but the ending was kind of cool. That's the approach they're taking here. That feels like the only logical reason why they do not want you to have regular access to decent Azerite armor. And that's because
what it seems.
Later down the line, it's going to be a problem, and they don't want that to be a problem because they've talked about it a lot. They've mentioned openly they've talked about it a lot. Why is it not available in Mythic Plus? And the simple fact is, if we do that now, that really fucks us up in the future because we want to have this payoff eventually. And it's better if we keep
How would it
down
ever
to
pay
Casino
off?
Royale. We could be a bit more pessimistic.
Casino
and say they want it
Royale.
down to the casino.
That's very true.
In terms of playtime, I don't think that's the case, given how frustrated people are with this system. I think it's more a case of they've probably got something of a legendary quality thing, something along those lines that comes up at the end of the expansion, and they don't want they don't want all the raiders, or they don't want all the players who are heavy Mythic Pluses to just go straight in on week 1 on that reset day. Hey, we've added this new mega trait to Azerite armor. Okay, cool. I'm just going to grind out 15s or 10s hardcore for the next 12 hours. I've got everything already. They probably don't want that. They want people to work towards some payoff. Do I like that system? As I said, no, I do not. No, I do not like that idea, but it's the only idea that makes sense to me.
I don't
there
get
we
like...
have it, folks. So just to clarify for anybody who was a little lost in all that, is in the very short term, they're going to hotfix it so you can get 370 stuff from the Emissary Rewards. Not from World Quest, from Emissary Rewards. When the Azerite cache Emissary Reward pops up, hopefully we'll have some sort of intuition as to whether or not you have 2 mega pieces and 1 really bad piece, so it won't just kind of keep spamming you with that, because again, opening that box is subject to RNG in and of itself, which is not that fun. I'm skeptical, but I would hope that they have something like that. There's some wording here that suggests that might be the case. That should solve a lot of issues there. And also, the new Azerite traits are coming with the new raid. They are not coming into the hotfix, the new Ring 4, which does seemingly have some reasonably interesting choices in there. Thank you so much for listening, guys. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.
That's pretty much what I was going to say. I mean, that's what I've said before. I think that's completely true. Like, from my perspective, like, I don't know if, like, these changes and everything really are going to be enough. And I think the main thing that, like, what he's saying, that they feel like there's going to be some kind of big payoff in the future for some weird reason that, oh, well, at the end of the expansion, it's going to make sense that they tiered out all of the Azerite armor. So, McConnell, whenever he said about the thing that they, what do you call it? What was I trying to say? The thing about the next raid tier having the levels, the neck levels be like 30 and 33. Do you think they're going to do that?
I mean, that only makes sense, right? Does that not make sense or what?
Yeah, makes sense.
That's the grand scheme. That's what they're talking about.
That is the grand design. The grand scheme. That is the big plan. This is what they've been working for a long time. And I don't know, man. I feel like that's what's going to happen, is that they're just going to keep making this neck. So they're basically, here's the system. The two systems, right? You have the Azerite system, or the Azerite armor system, and then the necklace system. And what they're doing is they're making the necklace system relevant by making the Azerite system require the necklace system, which is a completely, I mean, you can say it has a logic behind it, but if it wasn't for the Azerite system, nobody would care about leveling their necklace at all. And
Yep.
I feel like if you have to create one system just to incentivize somebody else to do another system because the rewards are not inherently valuable enough, then maybe it's a bad system to begin with and you're doing something wrong. I mean...
You know what, dude? What do you know? What do you know?
Yeah,
you're not a designer at Blizzard. You don't know what their inner plans are. You don't know what the grand scheme is.
Yeah, I don't know what the grand scheme is at all. I have no idea.
You don't know anything, dude. Hey, if you're such a good designer, why don't you go apply for Blizzard, dude? With your years of experience. Oh, wait, you don't have any. So why don't you just leave the designing up to them, man?
That's right, because everybody they hire... do you know what Ghostcrawler was? A marine biologist. He's a marine biologist. Ian was a lawyer. Yeah. So... Yeah, that's why you think we got Vashir, dude.
Oh, true.
Yeah, dude, think about it. There it is. You just put it together. And to me, like, I don't know, this is just like, it is ridiculous, right? And I'm sorry to say, but this kind of shit is, like, I feel like there is no grand design. I really...
What?
I feel like there is no grand design. I feel like there's...
Hold on a minute.
Yeah, I really don't think that there is a grand design. Now, I can maybe concede that there at one point or another in time was a grand design, but that grand design is not. Okay? And I don't think that's happening. Check your mail. Do it right now. Stop. Right. Read comments. Let's see. Well, let me see what the comments say. 1 second. Let's see what the comment this second. Let me pause this on. Hey, I just reported you. Well, thanks, man. I need a vacation. Okay, let's see what we've got here. Hello, Asmongold. Clean your room. Kappa, what's up, chat? The future of my subscription to WoW Revealed terminated. Do I watch this now or wait for Asmongold to stream? Revealed. 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 Damn it, Sargarius. Why couldn't have just kept your sword to yourself? Screamed Halabalas. Revealed. Don't worry, everyone. We got this tiny, tiny band-aid to repair this giant hole in the dam. Everything will be fine. What a crock of crap. It feels like conditioning the player base towards lowered expectations. You know how to fix BFA? Unsubscribed. Revealed.
True.
True Azerite traits are essentially Glyphs 2.0. Except for Glyphs didn't require a useless item to buff up the useless item to where the Glyphs were usable. It was instead a useless profession. Now just cancel my subscription. Revealed. In before typo fix. Revealed. Revealed. Is that Bastion? Revealed. Man, I love YouTube, man. They've got, like, only the most quality, high effort comments happen in here. Okay, let me read some of the longer ones and I'll see what people say. Supporting a game you do not enjoy is not good for yourself or anyone. See, this is like the type of like black and white thinking that people that are very, very like people like Boiled Dite too. They don't spend a lot of time thinking about anything, and I'm actually kind of surprised that this post is coupled with a lot of grammar that actually makes sense, because what he's saying is that if you don't like something, you have to stop doing it. You can't simultaneously like something and dislike the direction that it's going in while still enjoying the product. You have to either completely be okay with everything that the system has and the game has, or you have to stop playing it. There's no in between. I don't understand how this is not obvious, but there it is. Not the comments. Yeah. Let's see, what's the next one here? Is there anything else really that's worthwhile looking at? Still don't care about Azerite. I doubt I'll get my necklace at a high level by 8.1 to unlock the last 2 rings of my 370 pieces, since the level requirements are in the 30s. And my next, what is my level requirement? 33? Well, that's never going to happen. Fuck that. Yeah, I'm never going to get 33 until like next year. Here's a solution for refarming your Azerite traits issue. Every Azerite piece comes with its traits unlocked. Instead, your Heart of Azeroth increases the potency of those traits. I mean, that's nothing. That if they balanced it around that, it would be the exact same problem. That's just that's dumb. Because if they're balancing around the same growth curve, then you're still going to have breakpoints in which the growth occurs. Like it's unless you're doing on a complete gradient, right? Or gradient. And even if you did that, like, how are you going to do the item level thing? It's going to be like every other level is going to give you 1 point. Like, it's just stupid to me.